Do you struggle with a lot of low back tension or even pain? I'm Dr. Israel, and as someone who treats low back pain for a living, I found a couple hacks along the way that help a majority of my patients and even myself when I have a lot of tension in my low back. So today I'm going to show you a $5 product that can really help you if you're dealing with a lot of tension in this area. So what is the product? What we're going to be using is just a simple lacrosse ball. Many of you might have a ball like this at home already. If not, I'll link this in the description below. But this simple $5 ball is one of my favorite tools to melt low back tension. So let me show you how to use this. Before we move on, quick disclaimer, if you have a lot of low back tension or extreme pain, don't be a hero and guess if this is going to help you. Seek a local movement or medical professional before trying any of these moves. So our level 1 move, we're going to loosen up the superficial muscles first. Using our lacrosse ball up against a wall, or I'm using a door here. First, line this up where you feel a lot of tension in your low back. And then you're gonna get into like a mini squat position and then just lean up against the wall. From here, I like to say seek and destroy the tight spots. So you're gonna do some mini squats, rolling up and down. You can go back and forth until you find a really tight one, right there. Once you find a trigger point, you're just gonna simply hold this and then try to do some belly breathing or try to breathe into that ball pressure. And if you feel like you could use some more tension, well, I'll show you more tension in level 2. But for this one, you can start to walk further away from the wall and then lean more weight into that ball. And like I said, I like to seek and destroy the tightest spot. Many of you might have multiple tight spots, so don't discriminate. And while you're here, if you don't feel a ton of tension, you can start to lean away from the side you're stretching. So if I'm loosening up my left side, if I start to lean to my right, I'm starting to elongate those tissues, and it might be all easy for you to find some of those trigger points. Then of course, you're just gonna work to the other side. Same concepts here, just trying to seek and destroy the tightest spot. There's one on me right there. So now that I've pinned that spot, I'm gonna start to side bend towards my left, away from that right side, and then just do some mini circles, or I can even go back and forth, up and down, until I feel that tension starting to melt away. For those superficial muscles, you wanna seek and destroy for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Once we loosen up the top layer of muscles, level 2, we're gonna go even deeper. So after level 1, a lot of you actually might feel some reduction in that tension, but some of you feel that deep tension. And that's where this level 2 strategy comes into play. So we got our trusty lacrosse ball here. Same concepts as before, where we're gonna line this up right off the spine. I'm gonna start on my left side, and we're gonna keep our knees bent here. And then to add more pressure, I'm gonna slowly start to rotate and put more body weight through that sucker. So for me, I already found a tight spot. Just want to channel our inner Zen. Think about breathing into the belly. Trying to breathe into that lacrosse ball pressure. Really trying to get that to loosen up with each breath. If that tight spot loosens up, you can kind of drive your elbows in and your heels into the ground, almost like you're doing like a mini glute bridge here. And then, you're gonna go on to the next spot. Again, breathing in. And if you want to increase that tension, you can start to side bend away from that tight spot. And then again, you could do some mini rolls or even continue to roll onto that ball for more body weight pressure. Now there's a few of you sickos that still aren't going to feel much with this. So to take this up to another level, what you're going to do is hug that same side knee towards your chest. I already feel a ton of pressure increasing. So now we're trying to elongate those tissues. And I'm going to keep hugging it further and further until I can't, right about there. And then I can slowly lean body weight towards. This might bring a tear to my eye. And then you guessed it, just breathing into that pressure, trying to get that to just melt away. And of course, you want to do your other side. So same concept, find where you have a lot of tension or where you feel a lot of tension, and then just park it here. And then you can roll around until you really find a spot. For me, on my right side here, I have tension a little bit higher than I was expecting, which is okay. Now I'm just gonna park it, slowly lean over the top of it. After a good 30 seconds or so, I feel that tension starting to decrease, gets a little easier. So that's when I wanna pull that knee towards my chest. And then I feel a lot of tension there. Again, tolerable tension, don't be a hero. Just take what your body will give you. And then of course, breathe in, breathe out. And you can even start to lean away, as I mentioned before. I can feel that tension just melting away. So after a good 2 to 3 minutes on each side on the ground, my lower back definitely doesn't feel as tense. And that's how we seek and destroy that deep muscle tension. So now that we use this $5 ball to melt a lot of that tension, I'm gonna give you a bonus move. The idea here is to loosen that tension, and then we wanna reinforce it with movement, so then we hold on to those ranges or that reduced tension for longer periods of time. We're gonna do an oldie but a goodie. Most of you have probably heard of a cat-cow, or sometimes called a cat camel, where I'm in this all fours position. And then from here, I'm gonna think about just trying to isolate that movement through my low back the best that I can. So I'm gonna start to dump my belly button or tip my pelvis forward, starting to extend through that back until I feel some tension. And then we're gonna simply reverse it, thinking about doing a posterior pelvic tilt or tucking the tail between my legs here. And we're just gonna reinforce this with a good 10 to 15 reps in each direction. So that way we can maximize that reduced tension that we just accomplished using that lacrosse ball. So there you have it. For only $5, you can reduce both superficial and deep muscle tension. And of course, we want to reinforce that with some movement. You want to make sure you're doing that bonus movement after you try this. If you have a lot of tension or even pain, don't be a hero. Seek a local professional before trying something like this, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could definitely worsen your symptoms. As I mentioned before, if you don't have something like this at home, I'll link this product down in the description, and you can use this in many more places besides your low back. So stay tuned, and I'll make some more videos on some common muscle or tension spots that you can melt away with this sucker right here.